Good evening, everybody. Let me check my mic. Hold on. Hope you can hear me. I'm having the power cut, so I'm on my other device. It's something I don't like much. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me.
Kishan sir, what happened was I talked to Indranil sir regarding the timing last week. And
yeah.
In the timing for 4:30, and again I talked to him because most of our students not ready to start the lectures at 4:30. But he tried to contact you today, but he can't contact you. So Indranil sir called me today morning and he informed that. So I passed the message to our colleagues and we changed the timings. But from next week we will start from 1:30.
Again, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So today, yeah, I was not contactable. I was busy with something, so I had kept my phones off. Right. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay. So anyway, I think most of you are here. Minister said that you prefer 1:30.
I can't log in at 1:30 even because they have office works. So what we're going to do, we're going to meet up at second and we will discuss and let engineer sir and you know what is
4:30 both times, second minute, so you can decide.
We just need some to get everyone's 30 after second September we will decide and let you know, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll have only few after that. Anyway, that's okay. So that's for you to decide. Okay, let's start the discussion today. And yes, you have to let me know whether you can see how the power looking at you should be seeing full screen, right? So I introduce you to the subject the word procurement system, but I believe now you have a better idea why we call it a procurement system. or we have getting done our project. And if we look at this method, we can understand its procurement system. And so that is what we did last week. So this week, I will introduce you to the to another procurement method, which is coming under the procurement system classification of integrated approaches, integrated design approach or integrated procurement system designs basically. However, as I explained to you, separated and integrated does not have its literal meaning of say separate systems as separated systems and one system as integrated system. Of course, within separated system, you can see a bit of say subsystems which are quite separate. That is primarily the say design teams activities you can see as one subsystem, and construction teams activity you can see as another subsystem. And so that is possible, but of course it need not to be the case always. That's why I don't like to separate it as subsystem. You can see this is one subsystem and this is one subsystem, right? So these people they work together, and the other group they work together, right? There is international code.
We can't hear, sir.
Yeah, I was muted. I received an important call. Sorry about that. Right. Hope you can hear me now, right? Can you?
Yes, now can hear.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, fine.
can hear.
So uh, there are because I have this power cut here, so it's deep. Think of these two groups, right? You can consider the design team as one system, because you can draw a boundary around the design team, right? Draw a boundary around the design team and consider it as one system. From that system there is output going to the construction subsystem, going to the construction subsystem, and there are input in the form of communication, right? And not the sorry, the one below, large amounts of funds are coming as inputs, right? However, information inputs, majority of the information inputs are actually going to the design subsystem, right? And that those inputs are processed by the design, that is all the inputs coming from the client, remember, to the overall subsystem. What we have is what we have sorry, what we have are primarily the information and funds, money, remember that we discussed, right? So that is what we get to the overall subsystem. I will draw it in a different color. Right. So this is the, if you look at say, of course I'll draw it without the client since I'm talking about the boundary, but I mentioned that client also has a role. So I don't know, maybe if you are to do it properly, client also to be included probably in the first subsystem, because the client role is there, of course. However, we can leave the client out also if you want to analyze, right? And consider the whole team as one system and understand it. Now you can see, you can divide each of these groups as one subsystem and study. But if you really want, you can go to further extents, right? Say for example, you can consider this quantity surveying as another subsystem and study how things are happening inside there, right? So you can go into further detailed levels by considering subsystem levels. And of course, you can go upwards as parent systems to include more and more things and cover a wider scope in terms of what you want to understand. So when you are doing that, usually, say, you either understand the processes or the activities at the elements level. Now, when you think of this as at this level, the overall level that you're seeing here, so there you understand activities at say they are regular level. So you don't bother or you don't study, say you don't spend time trying to understand how things are happening inside quantity surveyors subsystem. But what you are looking at is what the quantity surveyors are giving, what they receive, how they process the, say, what they have to process, and how they influence others on various things. So you consider them as one unit and consider the activities. But when you want to understand better how any issues which are there within the quantity surveyors organization, then you can consider that portion as another subsystem, not the quantity service organization as a subsystem, because there are other things also they are doing, but the activities they are doing for this project, the work that they are doing for this project, consider that as a subsystem and study. Then the activities happening inside the quantity service organization related to our project can be then understood. Right. Of course, then you will see that those that subsystem will have a lot of activity interactions with other subsystems that they are the other projects that they are doing, and they are getting inputs, outputs from these other projects, especially from past projects. They might have taken a lot of inputs. Likewise, various different things happening inside you can see. So I'm not going to go into say the purpose of discussing this is not to explain what is happening inside, but I wanted to show that thinking of something from the system point of view can help you to understand things better. Okay, right. So with that, I'll move to the integrated approach, right? And I told you we define something under integrated, say, category for procurement system design by considering a certain parameter, certain characteristic. That is, from within the system, who is responsible for the client, for the design and construction activities. That is the sort of parameter, the characteristic that we are considering in judging when something is integrated or separated design, right? Of course, as I mentioned, different authors use different ways of judging this, but what I realized was judging it from this point of view is more logical in terms of say naming or categorizations we have done in the past for various different procurement system designs, right? So other than what we know, there are several other procurement system designs that we can use. So design and build method is a popular procurement method, and as per the information that we have, that is the second most popular method in Sri Lanka and also in many parts of the world, right? I think it is universally as per the information. Maybe some countries are there, not the common ones, which are using different methods, but basically for most developed countries and other economies, and Sri Lanka also, that is the case. So the conventional method is the most popular. Then we have design and build methods. You can see that it is interesting to understand both say separated system designs and integrated system designs are popular because, say, the most popular method is under separated system design, and second most popular method is under integrated system design, right? So therefore we can see the classification is fair because that covers two major system design approaches. And there is a commonly known design and build method, and there are few variants to that: package deal, develop and construct, turnkey, etc. Right? Okay. Before discussing these things, we will have a look at the regular design and build system design. Right? So this is the system design we can observe. Right? This is a system design we can observe when we study the procurement, say design and build procurement project, which is implemented under design and build procurement method, right? So this is the say structure of the organization, or basically the structure of the system, right? Structure of the system. So you can see the system structure. We have these elements and these interactions, the green color ones. So from the system point of view, these green color ones are the interactions or primary interactions. There can be other interactions, okay? So always there can be additional interactions, but the primary interactions, so I like to call them the design interactions. That is, say these interactions we purposefully have designed. Now, the consideration here is that actually the design and build method, we don't really design, we actually adopt that design because that is already there, right? You don't have to design it anew, right? You don't have to design it anew, it's already there. So this procurement system design, when we consider it from a design point of view, these interactions we have planned to have because we know these interactions are required for the proper performance of the procurement system. That's why I call them the designed interactions. And when we create our procurement system, we purposefully create those interactions. So to create those interactions, we primarily use contracts shown in the red color, right? So we use these contracts to create these interactions. Okay. Now here you can see from the point of view of subsystem, you can identify a subsystem that we say a major subsystem that is covering this one. Right? So they work as one system, right? And that system is the one actually does the say main work. So if somebody wants, actually, you can study design and build procurement method from this system point of view also, considering them, right? Excluding the client from the system, but but however, I recommend that say since client also has continual interactions and this the work of these other parties are also important, say to consider the system design from the holistic point of view, right? Especially when we are considering from the say client's point of view, when we want to say improve, fine tune, and correct any issues in the system. So looking at it from this point of view will give a holistic understanding. Right now, how it happens here, I will explain as I know. However, you can also share your ideas, right? Your experiences. Now, client wants a building, right? So that is the assumption that we have. So client wants a building, a building of an office, a residence, or something like that, or even that can be some infrastructure, maybe a road, maybe a bridge, right? So some sort of a facility, because right, it is likely that the client is unable to find the required facility among the existing buildings available, right? So client will identify the requirements, the needs that client wants to fulfill from this new building, and based on that, right, relying on that documented needs, what is required from the building, right? Client will enter into an agreement with the design and build contract. Okay, in this process, this design and build contractor that we identify as design and build contractor agrees with the client under this contract to deliver a building, right, by designing and constructing it, so that it will fulfill what is identified under the client's needs document, right? We might use various terms for that. Commonly used term is called the performance specification. So that client's needs document. So based on the client's needs document, this contract is signed, where say the design and build contractor agrees to design and construct a building so that that building will fulfill those client's requirements, right? Client's requirements, client needs, or client's requirements. So that is the nature of this contract. And under this contract, okay, how to pay, how much to pay, and all these things will also be agreed, and various other things like time durations, any special arrangements, price fluctuations, or how to deal with those things, variations. So various other things, how to deal with other things are also agreed under this contract. Okay, so and under this contract, there is say it creates this functional relationship, direct functional relationship with the design and build construction. So the building construction contractor is directly linked. In the other arrangement also, the building construction contractor is directly linked to the client with contract, but as you can see, we don't do say purposeful functional relationship between that construction contractor and the client. Of course, there is communications, etc. I'm not saying there is none. Those are required, but from the system design point of view, say we create the functional link between the, the lead consultant and the construction contract. Right? So you can see there is a difference. So there is a contract like this, but there is no functional relationship that we have designed. Okay, and there is a functional relationship here, but there is no contract between those. So in a way, this arrangement is a bit challenging. Here also you can see there is a functional relationship, but there is no contract. There is a functional relationship, there is no contract. So when there is no direct functional, when there is a direct functional relationship between unknown parties, remember these are unknown parties. We have to assume that they were not known to each other before. So they are working together for the first time, and they know that they will be working only for a short period of time, comparatively. Few years would be, but still not for the rest of the employment life, etc., because many people would work in the same organization for a quite longer period of time. Okay, so in such a situation, there is a working relationship without a contract is big challenge, especially this one, the relationship between the consultant and the construction contractor. Okay, because so if there is a direct contract, then this relationship is governed by that. Now it is not the case. So generally, then say a lot of external involvement from the client is there, and confusions, problems can occur because those additional contractual links. Here you can see it is not the case. The functional links are equal to the contractual links. Can you see? The functional links are equal to the contractual links. So that is a good point from the management point of view, the ease of management point of view. Okay, so we may not have considered this before, but of course, naturally, this is there. And say all the functional from the system design point of view, all the functions, majority of the functions are say managed through direct contracts between those functional relationships. Of course, there can be few like this one without direct contracts. Okay, so that is a good point. So based on the client's requirement document, this agreement is made, and design and build contract is committed to deliver a building that will function or that will perform as per this agreement. So that is the thing. So the design and build contractor take the responsibility to do that. Then this design and build contractor may not have all required expertise in-house, or sometimes may not have enough capacity in-house, because this design and build contractor probably is not doing only this project, they will be doing many other projects. So the design and build contractor will have to say allocate appropriate resources. So for the balance that he can't afford from in-house, the design and build contractor will get from outsourcing, right? Design and build contractor will get from outsourcing. So often it is the case that the design and build contractor is usually is a regular builder, right? A contractor that we know. I don't like to call contractor, but everybody calls them contractors, so we also call them contractors. However, a builder in terms of the expertise. So the main contractor here is usually a builder, a large construction company, and they may not have in-house design expertise, so they will get designers from outside, right? And they may not have of course, they would have QSs. Anyway, we know construction companies, they do have QSs. They have to have QSs, otherwise they can't perform. They have engineers, otherwise they can't perform, but they may not have architects because that is not usual requirement. But the kind of work those QSs and engineers are doing in construction company is different from those of a design company, right? Even for QSs, if it is QS consultancy, the work they do at a QS consultancy is different. How they are looking at the project, how they are doing. So because cost planning, etc., are not done usually within a construction company if it is not a design and build project. So in such because of that situation, even though they have in-house professionals, relevant professionals, the work might be outsourced because in-house professionals are not towards those areas, right? So they will outsource under subcontracts. Okay, so they are now subcontractors. Architects, engineers, QSs all become subcontractors under this overall procurement arrangement. And being a builder, there can be various different works that can be carried out by their own in-house labor force. But of course, we know that say many builders, they go with domestic subcontractors even for regular work like masonry work, etc. Also, sometimes they will go with subcontract arrangements because I think it is easy to manage labor force using labor subcontracts. So they also therefore are subcontractors. They provide labor only for a fee, and the main contractor will provide materials, etc., which is required to do the work. And there will be some domestic subcontractors who will provide the full range of works like specialized work, cladding systems, air conditioning systems, escalators, elevators, etc. So they will provide the full coverage of the works. So both types of domestic subcontractors will be there. Now in this arrangement, you can see the design and build contractor will have to make sure that the building will fulfill the requirements, client's requirements agreed under this contract, and that is what the main contractor has to make sure, right? So how this happens usually is before appointing this design and build contractor, the client will prepare that document which completely cover the requirements from the building, and different interested parties will bid for this project, and when they are bidding, they will come up with a schematic design, basic architectural design, right? Schematic design, and that schematic design will give a reasonable good idea to the client about the looks of the building and the space arrangement of the building. Those are the primary areas the client will need to understand, right? What is the space arrangement and how the building would look like, right? So for that level, the design is done, and the bids are submitted with that, right? So however, that only covers the looks of the building. The major responsibility of the contractor is not based on that design, because that design is not complete enough to say be a comprehensive interpretation of what is to be delivered, right? So it's only shows the looks and the general space arrangement. So what this design and build contractor, before becoming the contractor as a bidder, what the bidder will submit to the clients, there will be many bidders submitting under the tendering process, right? What they will submit is that we will build a building. That is what they will say. If I summarize what the offer is, so they will offer to build the building to which will comply or which will fulfill the client's requirements as per this document, right? Which will fulfill the client's requirements as per this document, which will have a generic space arrangement and looks like in this schematic design. Okay, general arrangement and looks like this in this schematic design. General space arrangement and looks like this in this schematic design for this price to be paid as per this price schedule. So it can be monthly or stage payments or something. So some payment, say it will not be the full payment only at the end, but say milestone payments or monthly payments can be there. So that is usual in construction sector because these projects takes quite long time. So that kind of offer is given, and out of these offers the client will accept one of those. So when the client accepts the offers, client is assured of receiving at the end what is there in that requirements document, right? And the building will look like in the schematic design with the generic space arrangement like that, and the client will have to pay the price accordingly, right? So that is the contract here. Okay, so when the design and build contractor and the team is confident that the schematic design is appropriate to fulfill the client's requirements, but because that has to be done before bidding actually, then they can start developing the design when the project is awarded. That is when the contract is awarded to that bidder, so that bidder becomes the contractor. Then when the design starts, of course, say when the loading calculations are done, probably if engineers here, you can correct me. So if all the loadings are known, probably you can finalize the foundation design, right? Then while other parts of the design is still being carried out, you can start construction. So when you are ready with the design to start construction, of course, site clearing works, etc., can be done even with the schematic design, but you have to have some further information. The designs are done either using in-house labor, the main contractor can commence the construction work or can appoint domestic subcontractors and start the work, because even the for certain works based on say subcontract BOQ, the main contractor can do, because by the time the subcontractor is appointed, that part the design is fully completed for that part of the work, then a complete comprehensive BOQ, bills of quantities, can be prepared, and the subcontract can be entered based on those quantities. So it's quite clear and easy to manage. So while design being completed, so as say the design and build contractor can identify it as work package as completed work packages, then for those work packages, domestic subcontractors can be appointed and implemented. So in terms of management also, it is quite convenient for the design and build contractor, because say precise say highly accurate quantities, etc., and the say work descriptions are there in entering into this agreement. And yes, so the team together will deliver the building, and the client, but the test the client can have is whether the stipulated requirements are fulfilled. So client will not wait until the building is completed to check whether the requirements are fulfilled, because if anything is found not to have been fulfilled at the end of it, then what to do is really challenging. Of course, you can blame or you can claim from the main contractor for not fulfilling that, but that is not the way it works, because either party will benefit from that, right? So for that reason, there will be continuous, say, sort of intervention and monitoring under this functional arrangement to see whether the design and build contract is in the right track of achieving those. So the client will also sort of way monitor that and sort of administer that. However, client does not take the responsibility of the failure of this main contractor to do say comply that. So that it is actually the main contractor's responsibility to comply to that, but client will continually monitor. That is from the management point of view, because say the, the the errors or mistakes, right, can be corrected easily at earlier stage than at a later stage. So that client's contribution therefore is very useful. However, the client is unable to do all these things themselves, right? For that reason, client will also need some experts. That's why client will also appoint advisors. So they will advise the client on various things. They will go through the documents shared by them, information provided by them, right, and advise the client. Okay, it is this is correct. This is not correct. This has to be improved. This is not acceptable because of these reasons. Likewise, they will give advices related to design, and of course the financial things is a separate area, and the cost advice is also needed by the client, because client is, you have to understand, client is not an expert in the construction field usually, right? For that the client will require external advice. So the client will take external parties, usually the consultants, as advisors, but their role is very much different from conventional method consultants role, right? They will not take any sort of design responsibility. They will only review what their design and whether that design can fulfill, etc., right? And whether they meet the required standards, design standards, all these things, they will review and advise the client whether they have done a proper job. And based on that, the client will advise them, direct them, pay them or not pay them. All these things happen. Okay, so that is the arrangement. So the this, as I said, so design and construction responsibility overlapped here. Then design and construction activities are overlapped over the timeline. Both things can happen in parallel. Of course, design will start a little early, construction will start a little late, but say these two things can run parallelly, reducing the overall project time period. However, there are some challenges. Say primarily, you can understand. Say there is a limited choice for the client, right? Limited choice for the client. So the client will select this design and build contractor, and after that, the design and build contractor will have its own team. So the usual so in the when this contract is made, actually at the bidding stage, the design and build contractor will have to declare the team, right? Have to say, give what team the design and build contractor is going to use, and the client will consider that also in the decision. But the thing is, even the client knows that, okay, this is the architect he's going to use, this is the QS he's going to use, right? Still, the combination may not be the best combination the client can think of. Say, for example, the 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 bid coming with the best architect client knows may not come with the best builder, or maybe the best builder may not come with the best architect client would like to have. So it's a combination. So the client will have to consider this combination and decide which one is more suitable, right? So however, the good thing is that the whole responsibility of the building, right, the total responsibility of the building is managed by one party from the client's point of view. So it's very easy for client, because say doesn't have to worry who's responsible for that part, who's responsible for this part. When you compare it with this one, it's a bit challenging, because the main contractor is responsible for construction parts of all different things, but say any cost related issue, the QS is responsible, architect is responsible for the architectural matters, structural engineer is responsible for structural issues, then MEP, the different engineer, likewise, various different parties are responsible in the same building for various different important aspects of it. Okay, so that is challenging in a situation where some issue has to be resolved. Here it is not the case. Any problem? Only call this guy. He's responsible. Okay. Now, usually, this design and build contractor is either a large design and build contractor who is already established as a design and build contractor, where they have the in-house design experts also, but that is not very common, but increasingly we see that is happening. However, the common practice is that this design and build contractor is actually a builder, a construction contractor, or we say contractor, that we usually term by them, right? A builder. Right? And a builder takes the full responsibility and hire or subcontract the expertise from outside, which the builder requires, especially the design expertise, and also as a regular practice, of course, the domestic subcontractors, work subcontractors would be there. Now, a question now from you. Today, I may not be able to hear you clearly, but you speak a little loud. Now, as I said, it is usually a construction contractor who becomes a design and build contractor, and you may have also observed this. Why can't we have a design firm, right? Can't we have a design firm to be the main design and build contractor? Then the design team does the design, maybe hire other design experts as needed, and then subcontract the construction work to another builder. Maybe not use several domestic subcontractors, but all the construction work subcontracted to another builder. Why can we do that or can't, and why? Got my question?
I think we can do that one, that system.
Okay, has it happened? Have you seen that happening?
Yes, really. Then, if we can do as a design and build contractor, then we can design all the architectural and other supportive designs, and as a package, then we can give to other subcontractors or a labor contractor. Even doesn't matter.
So is it happening really? Have you seen it happening?
I think
Okay.
so.
Okay. Others? He says it's possible and it's happening. Others? What is your experience? Have you seen it happening or not happening?
I think it's happening, sir.
That is what conventional method, no?
No, I'm not saying that conventional method. Now, what I'm saying is, my question is, in conventional method, actually, yes, if you look at how the works are happening, it might look like that. But however, in that situation, what we say would really have is that a design firm taking the full responsibility, right? A design team taking the full responsibility. That is for the say then this contract is not there, right? It is not there. What happens is that there is a contract between the architect or the lead consultant, who is now the design and build contractor, with the main contractor. So, and these are also not there, right? So there will be contracts like this. The blue color ones are also contracts, but those are the alternative contracts instead of the previous ones. And this kind of arrangement now, then it is a design and build contract, because it's not conventional thereafter, because now say there is no multi-party or multi-point responsibility for the design and construction. It is only one party responsible under this contract. It is this party, right? And that party then take that responsibility and subcontract as appropriate.
Give the main job also consulting.
Yeah, my concern is now here the party here is a design firm, assume architectural firm, right? So the main contractor to the client is an architectural firm.
But architecture firm, but quantity survey and design consultant was consultant under consultant.
No, they are subcontractors now. For this architectural firm, they are subcontractors. Of course, you call them consultants in work practice. I'm talking from the arrangement point of view. They are now subcontractors. Earlier, they were contractors to client directly in the conventional method, right? Now we are actually converting this structure to a design and build method, where the full responsibility is given under, you can see my mouse pointer, right? So this full responsibility is given to this architect under this contract. That is full responsibility of design and construction. So to design the building so that it will fulfill the client's requirements and get it constructed. And that is given to this architectural firm. And architectural firm, they have their own in-house expertise in terms of architectural practices, but for other things, they will subcontract the work, because QS work subcontracted to the QS. Other design, say special engineering design work subcontracted to other engineers. Then the construction work is subcontracted to a construction contractor. After that, the construction contractor will use domestic subcontractors, and if say architect prefers, can have nominated subcontractors also under this contract. Okay, so this is essentially a design and build method then. My question is, what are the issues, or are there any issues in such arrangement?
As per the
Type
form of contract, nobody can give. The main contractor cannot give fully to the subcontractor. Yeah. The lead consultant can't give fully responsible to main contractor.
So I didn't get the point, because the main contractor, who is main contractor? This part you are talking about.
Yes. The full contract responsibility can't be.
No, that is actually usually a condition that we include specifically for our contracts, right? Because we say that the construction, the contract cannot be fully awarded to another subcontractor. That is to avoid, I think, is to avoid a middle party coming in and profiting out of that sort of a thing. But that is a special condition that we include into our contracts to avoid that. But in absence of that, it can happen. You brought
can
a good
happen,
point. Yeah,
but
sorry.
time is not less than design and other.
No, time will be same. I will go back to that one. I think other than you will not get confused.
So,
The idea is this design and build contractor here. What I say is usually a construction company. But my question is, can't it be an architectural consultancy company? What is the issue?
I think there is no any controlling part from the client side. I mean, there is no design advisor or cost advisor. So, there's no any controlling part to the architect firm.
Why come there is no controlling part? Because that controlling happening under this arrangement. Otherwise, it will not work. Now, it's like instead of having Sunil here, we have Nimal. But Sunil is a construction contractor. Nimal is an architect. Right? Other things are not different. All the contractual provisions, controlling mechanisms, like if you think of it from say practical point of view, having a designer is easy because usually the architects are familiar with fulfilling the client's requirements. Builders are familiar with building to buildings according to the design given. Right? Architects or the design team basically are familiar with fulfilling the client's requirements. So having an architect here might have say benefits to the client because the architect understands the client's expectations and say manage the overall thing in a way that it will fulfill the client's requirements. And they are used to manage construction projects as say administrators. So quality controlling and relevant other activities also they can do. So they can make sure that the parties who are working in the project can do a quality job. That controlling can also be done. So say ideally from that point of view, the say, ideal party here would be a designer, and say from the current practice point of view, the architects, because usually it is the architect in majority of the projects. It is the they assure, say for example, structural stability is there, but the thing is, say structural ability is just how can I say, it is a generic client's requirement. So for any building, the structural stability is needed. So it's a generic, and even without clients saying that, it has to be there. But there are certain specific client's requirements, and those are usually related to the space arrangement, the form of the building, and all these things. So so those parts are actually related to the architect's job. So that's why it is usually the architects who deals with the clients most of the time in understanding what client wants and fulfilling them. So for that purpose, having an architect is usually can be considered beneficial. Of course, say other aspects like engineering aspects, cost aspects are important, but those are sort of understood without even client saying. Right. However, the specific requirements are not. So we have to deal with the client, communicate with the client, and make sure that we are fulfilling. So from that point of view, the ideal party to be the design and build contractor is an architectural firm, but we don't see that often. And you are saying that happens, but I haven't seen. So if you can give examples, yes, it is beneficial. My question is, why is it not commonly happening, or if it is happening, what are the concerns?
So if we have some legal right to do construction also as a consultant, normally they are doing designs, but don't do construction. So if we have the legal right from the statutory authorities or any institutions, if we can do both, so I think then we can manage. I think it's happening.
Okay, that is a very good point. So we don't know whether a certain organization can have that, but say if it is a builder, if it is construction contractor, so the construction contractor does not have legal authority to do
design. Yeah.
So
vice versa.
how that happens is that that contractor assures that they will use qualified parties to do that.
Yeah.
So can't it work the same way if the architectural firms get the building project and under that agreement assures that for the construction work they will use qualified builders?
Yeah.
I think that will work.
Yes.
And that is because under this agreement only he takes a responsibility, but he is not going to construct. So under the industry point of view, under the legal point of view, this party not actually, then you may not have many subcontractors, but you can have one contractor, subcontractor. That party will take the full responsibility of construction work. So that is possible, but your point is important, whether it can be allowed. Say, for example, would ICTAD conditions, ICTAD regulations or what, CEDA regulations, etc., has any limitations? That I don't know. So if you can know, maybe you can figure it out and
Excuse me, sir. I think, but they have the limitations. But if we can request, if we have some sufficient and efficient capacity in our firm, so I think we can do both. Vice versa.
My question is, I'm not sure whether limitation is there for the contract to be entered or works to be carried out. From my understanding, the limitation, that is because you see that for a certain value of work, you have to have a certain qualified level, right?
Yeah.
So depends. So that specifies, say, for the value of works, what is the grading the registered contractor should have.
Yeah.
That is for the works. So the works are carried out under this contract, isn't it?
Yes.
Construction works are carried out. So in that, under that, the client is this party, the architectural firm. And this party is the main contractor. From the CEDA point of view, right, for that work, that is the case. So I don't think that is going to be a problem. I don't think you need special approval for that.
Approval, yeah. If we can get that special approval, then we can do it.
Yeah, I don't think that is a big issue, but it's not happening. Why?
Yeah. Most of them are doing that without having that approval and all.
Yeah, that is the thing. But say my concern is architects don't take the projects as design and build contractors, for example, or QSs or engineers. As I mean, consultant because there are certain companies who are consulting and also construction, so they take. But I'm referring to these architectural firms who are doing architectural consulting. And if they actually take, they should be able to manage that properly, but they don't take. Why? Why?
the architect can have a conflict of interest with this profit maximization and safeguarding the client's interests?
How come? But if it is the other way, then architect is somewhere here. So then architect is fulfilling the builders, because architect is nowhere working for the client there. Architect is directly working for the builder and fulfilling the builder's expectations. Good point, but you can see the what difference it make, right? So we are sort of used to think of these parties in a certain manner, right? And however, this actually change all the landscape of it. Now, architect is a subcontractor to the builder. I don't know if you are a consultant, you say thinking of that. I become a subcontractor to the contractor. If you are thinking of the project that you're working now, right? How do you feel? Okay, so we are not used to that way of thinking of even, right? Working under a contractor. However, it is what is happening really. It's not I don't know whether it can be considered conflict of interest. I don't think it is possible because say the client's interests are to be fulfilled by this party who is the builder. So it is the builder's interest to make sure the requirements are fulfilled, and for that reason the builder has to make sure the designer will do a design that will fulfill the requirements. So that is how the requirements are fulfilled by the design team. So if the architect is here, of course he's also thinking of making a profit, not delivering a service as a consultant for a fee. Because if there is no profit, there is no benefit for the architect, because he's the supplier. So the profit is his cost, the difference between his cost and the price the client will pay. So maximize the profit, minimizing the cost is anyway the architect's intention also. You cannot say it's a conflict of interest. That is the interest of doing a business. So is that the very reason consultants are not taking design and build projects? What do you think?
So maybe financial capacity.
Yes, exactly. That is the most critical issue here. Because now think of a project, right? Think of a project. In a project, how much do we pay? Like how much do we allocate for in a regular project for the consultancy fees?
It will be less than 10%. Sir.
Less than 10%, yes. I heard in some projects it's about 3% even. I don't know how they survive with that rate, but some consultants, I heard they have taken, I'm not sure, but somebody has told me, and they were also wondering how they were doing the work. But less than 10%, right? Roughly around 5% in my understanding, isn't it? In most of the projects. You can share what you know. It's not a secret, right? It's a common thing in the industry, right? So it's around 5%, and as you said, it's less than 10% in most cases. So thanks. So when we consider this thing, you can understand about 90% of the money that is coming to the construction industry is rolling within the builders. More than 90% actually. And less than 10% is there among the consultants. So the money that is, say, coming and going out within the cash flow, organizational cash flow of the consultancy firm are far lesser than construction companies. Right? So when that is the case, taking a large financial risk, because now if the full project responsibility is taken by the architectural firm, right, the value of that may be more than all the projects, all the consultancy projects that they are doing. That is possible, right? Or even it is little lesser than that. Taking that huge financial risk is challenging. Say, for example, if the client delays the payment by 1 month for some reason, architectural firm will have no way of paying the subcontracts for that month. But it's not the case for a builder. Builder can roll it and somehow manage it, but not for a regular consultancy company. But of course, if it is an international large consultancy company, probably taking a smaller project is practical, should be practical, but not for a regular consultant doing similar level of projects. Right? So that is the
Organizations like State Engineering Corporation, they
Sorry,
undertake both consultancy and construction.
Sorry, I cannot hear you properly.
What about the organization like State Engineering Corporation? They do
Yeah,
undertake both consultancy as well
yeah,
as
because
construction.
they are design and build contractors actually.
Yeah.
They are design and build contract. You can consider State Engineering Corporation, CCB, various companies are there, large companies are there. They are design and build contractors in work. They can work as design and build contractors because they have this in-house financial capacity, because they also, in addition to being consultants, they also have their construction divisions where they do construction projects. Because of they are doing construction projects, they have this large financial capacity as organizations, so they can do that, right? So in some projects they act as consultants, in some projects they act as contractors, and in some projects they act as design and build contractors. That is possible.
But in this scenario, we are talking about only the consultant firm. The mere consultancy firms can't do. That's all.
But in this scenario, what I ask is a consultancy architectural firm.
Firms, yeah, that's right. That's why we can't do that.
That's why you can't do
Right.
that. It's not a problem of approval or anything.
Right.
Right? If anything like that can be sorted out, but the thing is, it is risky for them.
Yes.
Too risky for them to take that. That is the main reason why they can't do it. And they should not try to do that.
Yeah, but I think they can do, and they can manage small projects.
They can manage small projects, so they have to consider like
not a big scale
simple
ones.
thing, like if the client does not pay for 3 months, can we manage?
Yeah, can manage. Yeah.
Yeah,
If they have much
manage,
money, yeah, if they can manage, then they can do that design and build project. Yeah.
Yeah, they can do
As
design.
a
Say
bureau.
for example,
Yeah, as a small bureau.
Small buildings like houses.
Yeah.
These kind of things, even a small boutique hotel, they might be able to do based
Yeah.
on their capacity. So that's why. So why we don't see that is not because of any limitations from the law or regulations. Why we don't see that happening is because of that limitation of financial capacity. So when they have enough financial capacity, when they can take that financial risk, of course they can do. So therefore we can see few, we should be able to see few of that nature happening, especially as you mentioned, for some small projects. So if you, I haven't come across any, because I don't work in the industry. That may be one key reason why I don't see them. So if you know of any well-known projects, you can share for benefit of everybody. Yeah, it has happened, especially if you can know some consultancy firm who has done that. I think it's okay to share such knowledge. Don't hesitate to share that knowledge. because those are not secrets. So because everybody knows if somebody is doing that project, so those who are in the industry would know. The thing is, we are not exposed to that information, so sharing that information is beneficial. Maybe for somebody when they are doing their research work, sometimes they might recall, okay, this firm is like that, we can go to them likewise. So that benefit is there. Okay.
So there's another kind of thing, but which is a little different to what you have told, sir. Now, being the client, Navaloka, he has given their car park building, the building put up in front of the old Navaloka hospital, which was the client. Anyway, the Navaloka, so they have given it to CSC. Those who have done the structural work for the Nelum Kulana, they've been the main design and build for the construction, and they have taken Navaloka being the client as their subcontractor to supply the ready mix concrete and everything. So they've been hold every responsibility on on behalf of the client. And since the private company and chairman wanted to put up the building so soon, he has been positively given all the cash flow requirements. So therefore, it was very speedy construction, and it was not so disturbances to handle like that also. So Navaloka, being the client, has done the subcontract work to the main builder, design and build CSC, that those maybe one Fernando, there that some other arrangement. I don't know how to apply here.
Okay. Yes, that is interesting to know. I think there is no anything wrong of what they have done. So that's a kind of a interesting idea. While they know that, say, as Navaloka, they may know their capacity of doing it faster, and maybe say they have considered it. And other thing is, say, doing it in-house might, like, if there are any issues, then say it's very, say, if you are a construction company, and being a construction company, if you do your own building, there is a challenge if, say, to whom you are going to complain, and to whom you are going to push. So it is always in-house team. The top management has to keep on pushing, which is again kind of a challenging task. So when you give it to somebody else, then that party will look at it as a separate project and handle it. Now, it is not like building your own house by yourself. I think that is a good strategy they had used, and make it, then there is somebody who is responsible for that. And of course, they also still make some profit out of it by being a subcontract. I don't think it is also having any negative impact. I cannot think of any negative impact of being a subcontractor for that. Yeah, it is an interesting information. Thanks for that. Do you have any concerns regarding that, or you just shared it with us? Okay. So just to summarize from there, hope you can see my slides. So design and build method, design and construction are overlapped in terms of responsibility, and of course also in terms of time, right? And therefore project delivery is faster, and the limitation is that there is a limited choice of parties being selected compared to the conventional method, where you can select all different parties of preference, key parties of preference. Here it is not that possible. So here the best designer may not be the best constructor or best builder. However, importantly, a single party manages the total responsibility. So from that point of view, client is benefited because there's only one party who is responsible for everything that is being delivered. So I mentioned about few variants, close variants of this one. It is the same arrangement, right? Same structure kind of a thing, but how it happens, how things happen is a bit different. One is called package deal. Now in package deal, what really happens is that these package deal contractors are design and build contractors, right? They are design and build contractors. They are regular design and build contractors, and they have pre-designed packages. So they take the full responsibility of the design and also construction of it, right? So the clients can select from these packages. So popular such situation is those house builders. Like, if I can remember, I think one of the active such house builders that has been there for a very long time is Vajira Builders, Vajira Housing. I can remember I have seen the ads when I was very young also. And now we have a lot more than that. So their model, their business model, right, where they have their own designs, the clients can pick from those designs and they build it. In a way, this is an improvement to the overall process, because now these designs have been sort of trialed many times, because they have built these buildings before, and they should have optimized this design in terms of functionality and also in terms of cost, right? So as a result, you might get a functional building for a, so that when we are going with this package deal projects, right? However, the structure is same, but say how it happens is different. The client requirements document is not there, right? Client picks a design already done, and the improved versions can be that in addition to the basic designs, there can be packaging inside of the building design. Say, for example, there can be few different say bathroom designs for the same house design, few different bathroom designs, out of which the client can pick maybe kitchen designs. Likewise, few internal parts can have few different options for the clients to pick from. So that is package deal. So in package deal, of course, the design and construction, both responsibilities are there with the design and build contractor, and the process is likely to be very fast, or the fastest, because the design is fully completed and all the structural quantity survey and all the works are already done in that. So immediately the project can be started. Of course, I don't know how efficient they are doing this, but theoretically, say the construction process can be optimized because the total design is known, all fabrication details, shop drawings, everything is ready. So the things can be planned precisely and optimized for faster delivery, and this should be the fastest in terms of project delivery, the package deal, right? And other than in this domestic construction like house building, we can also find package deals in steel frame constructions like warehouse constructions, etc., where they have certain say frames. So you can combine these frames to have, say you can decide the clear span, etc., heights, etc., based on the frames. So you can pick which frame to be used. Then based on the length that you want, they will build it, right? So that is also considered a package deal because they take full responsibility of the design of it and construction. And these we know are very fast, right? In terms of project delivery. Then similar to design and build method, we have develop and construct method, which is also quite good option. That is what happens here is that instead of getting bidders to come up with their own concept designs, it's concept design, not schematic, right? The concept designs, the client will first come up with the design, like use a preferred architect and do the design for the space arrangement and the looks, right? Then of course the other document, the client requirements document, will be there. The performance specification document will be there, which specifies what is to be there in the completed building, right? And the design will serve as a secondary level. That is the client's requirements are the primary requirements to be fulfilled, and the design is given in a way that the building has to have this space arrangement and these looks, but it is contractor's responsibility to make sure all the functionalities of the building as stipulated in the client's requirements documents are fulfilled. So here the client will, in addition to the performance spec, client will also provide a concept design, which the bidders will have to consider and price accordingly, and they have to take the full responsibility of the design to develop that design appropriately, professionally, in all different aspects, architectural, engineering aspects, right? And construct it. So the design responsibility is again with the design and build contractor. So any issue with the design, any problem with the design, it is the responsibility of the design and build contractor. It is not with the client's consultant who did the initial concept design. So that is just to visualize on. So if there is an issue in that design which does not comply with the client's requirements document, so it will be the design and build contractor's responsibility to sort that out. Okay, so that is develop and construct. May not be very popular, but of course is in practice, can be used. Turnkey I found is quite loosely used in various different scenarios. So I only say rely on the concept there. So turnkey, the expectation of the turnkey is also a design and build project where the client's involvement is minimized, and everything that is necessary will be looked after by the design and build contractor, and this can even extend to finding an appropriate plot of land also. Can be, right? Not necessarily. And to that extent, you can give the responsibility to the design and build contractor, and say sorting out various things, environment issues, approvals, everything is given to the design and build contractor. And generally, this also would include, say, furnishing of the building. That is the generic idea of turnkey. How the word comes actually is turning of the key. So which means that the design and build contractor will look after everything and give the key to the client so that the client can turn the key, open the door, and occupy the building. So that is the basic idea of turnkey, but now like it has been used in various different scenarios, and different explanations are there, right? So there are projects identified as turnkey, especially in the public sector. There are turnkey projects I'm not sure whether they are using that term from the original concept point of view or as a way out of following the regular procurement process, right? Because turnkey is usually associated with urgently required buildings, as I have observed. So they may be using the idea to say coming up with the alternative way of doing the projects. However, if you have any experience about turnkey projects, you can share. Right, so that's about turnkey. Okay, so hope it's understood and clear. So with that, I conclude the discussion about contracts. I will be talking about them a little bit further later on, right? For the moment, sorry, the procurement methods, not contracts. So the idea was the procurement classification and understand those. So how I explain those, this was by using two different popularly used system designs, right? Separated under separated designs, I considered the conventional method, which is the most commonly used method, procurement method, which represent a certain system design. Then design and build method, which represents a certain system design. But of course, there can be other designs fall into these two categories, which we will look at later on. Okay. Right. So I got my power back. That's good. I have been sweating with the mosquitoes here. Right. Okay. So if you don't have any comments or questions, I can conclude this and move to the next topic. Okay. So if you don't have any comments or questions, give me a minute. I open the next one. Okay, I'm sharing my presentation again. Hope you can see it. Right. So in our procurement systems, when we are creating our procurement system, we understood that the creation of this structure is quite challenging because it is a temporary organization structure that we are creating, right? And in this temporary organization structure creation, we use a mechanism that we call a contract, right? So we use contracts extensively, and we rely a lot on these contracts in creating our procurement system, right? Probably we may not be having any better alternative if there were no contracts to create these procurement systems, right? So contracts are very important, and without them, I have no idea what we can do to create those relationships, interactions, etc. in our procurement system. These are very important, right? So we are going to look at contracts next, because that those forms an important part in our procurement system. But before we move, some basic things I want to discuss with you. The idea of price and value. What is price? What do you understand by the term price? What is a price? I can't hear. What is price is not a challenging term, right? Everybody knows. So what do you understand by the term price? I'm not asking for a specific scenario, even not in construction. Generally, what do you understand by the term price?
Cost of the product.
Cost of the product is the price. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give an example?
Then if we can, if we are going to construct a project or something, then we can design and evaluate and value, can get the valuation from our estimators or contract surveys, and then we can have the some figure amount, the price for this project. And after construction also, then we can value.
Yeah, my common awareness is that there we set the price by adding profit to the cost.
Yes.
Cost plus profit is price. That is how
Yes.
QSs are saying.
Yeah.
Right. That is QS's price. Cost plus profit is QS's price. Okay. Is it the same price for the client?
No. With the what client is achieving by this project, the all of that project cost and other benefits is the price. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll take that. But there are some slight differences. We'll see if somebody else can contribute to that. Thanks. It makes sense, right? We'll see how we can finalize this. Other ways of looking at it, price. What is price? You can see me, so I can't show. Say, just assume something that I have here. Maybe I have a mobile phone here. Just imagine a reasonably good one. So I say that I'm selling this for 30,000 rupees. What is that? 30,000.
So can we say financial value to the that as a price?
Financial value to that. If you relate to the mobile phone 30,000, so you can say it is the financial value of the phone is 30,000, and that is the price. Okay, I'm not sure whether it is my problem or your problem. I can't hear you properly. I can't hear you. Is it her problem, others, or my problem?
Her problem.
Okay. Sorry, your side. We have a problem. We get to hear you. We can hear you saying something, but we can't sort of identify what you're saying. Right. Okay. I'll take.
I think price is quantity of money which expected by the seller for a product or service from the client. It may be a price.
It may be the price. Okay, that is the expected amount, right? So that is the price. So the seller expects some certain amount from a certain financial amount, rupee value, from a buyer, and that is the price. Okay, good. So I'll take my example. I say I'm selling this for 30,000 rupees, right? I have a mobile phone. accepted it, therefore no contract, and therefore no contract price. So if there is a contract, it becomes the contract price, right? And it will become the price when it is paid, right? So think of the price. So we use it in different ways. So we have offer price, we have contract price, we have price, that is transaction price. Then we have count offers, that is another offer after offer instead of acceptance. So it is 20,000, you said. Okay. Then I might accept it. If I accept it, then the contract price becomes 20,000. Right. Then when you pay that 20,000, it becomes the transaction price, and I will have to give my mobile phone for that price. Right. However, I can reject your offer and say that no, I can't, or just not accept your offer, and might offer another offer saying that no, 20,000 I can't, but I can give it for 26,000 maybe. So that is another offer price. Likewise, there can be different price offers. Okay. So this price concept is therefore linked to say amount that is transacted or amount expected to be transacted. Price is coming from that. However, how to find this price, we have different ways. Okay, so that is where you talk about this cost plus profit. So that is how to identify what is the price we should ask for, kind of a thing. Right. However, there is this idea of asking price and all these things. So all are related to price, right? But the real price will become is what is actually transacted at the end, right? So in our construction projects, we know we ask for several from several bidders to submit the offer price. So out of these offer prices, we select one price and enter into the agreement. That is the contract price, right? That is the contract price. And generally, that is the price we have to ultimately pay. But in our construction projects, we know that it is not exactly the same amount we usually pay at the end. So the real price of the project is slightly different from the contract price because we have certain adjustments for the contract price. So in some contracts, we have adjustments for the market price fluctuations. But even for contracts without market price fluctuations, we have certain adjustments for other changes that we call variations. So the real price that we pay at the end is not the original contract price, but what we pay at the end is also a contract price, also the contract price, right? Why? Because it is paid as per the contract. What happens is that in our contracts, in addition to agreeing for a price, we also agree to adjust the price for various conditions, right? So the indicative price that is there is understood, but that is understood along with those adjustment conditions that we agree. So the price as a figure that we agree that it is not the price, but it is an indicative price. But we actually pay at the end will be adjusted for various things as identified in the contract. That's how we pay a different price. But for a simple contract like purchase of a mobile phone, that is not the case. What we agree at the time of agreement is the price that we pay usually at the end when the transaction occurs. But these transactions, you can understand, are very short period like you. So For a mobile phone, immediately after you agree, you actually pay. Right? For certain other services, say you might call and agree, then when they deliver, you pay. Like it's like that. But for construction projects, it is not the case. You agree now, and how you pay will be in monthly basis for a few months or maybe few years. Right? For that period, there can be various adjustments necessary. Okay, so the price has that feature. So just to say remind you from the contracts point of view, assume not you are not buying the phone from me, but when you go, we just quickly say try to understand some few things related to law of contracts. Say when you go to buy a mobile phone, basically you have some idea what sort of a mobile phone you are looking for, and maybe you have studied few models and considered okay buying one of those models, or maybe you have one model in mind when you go to buy it, right? So you go to the shop, and when you go to the shop, the phone is on display, and it says 99,000 rupees, right? There's a price tag below that. So what is that? Is that the offer price or what? Contractually. Do you know law of contract? Have you studied or learned law of contract? Yes or no? I'm not going to teach you all, but just to understand how far you know. Yes, Ratnaka, I could not hear you.
Yes.
Have you studied?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That,
Okay.
that price is the window price.
Okay, window price. So that is not offer. Can we accept that
Yes.
price?
No, there is not a offer.
Okay. So that is window price. So we can call it tag price because there's a tag. So we can call it various things, but that is not an offer, right? So we can't just accept and establish a contract.
Yes.
So what is the purpose of that tag then, price?
It can be a attention the customer.
Customer's attention, yeah. Yes, so it is for the customer to offer to buy it, right? That is how it happens. So it is usually the customer who would offer to buy it, maybe for that price. Of course, since it is not an offer, it is for the customer to give the fresh offer. So it is quite fine that we give a lower price.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because it is indicative.
Customer can ask that lower price. Okay.
Yes, customer can ask for a lower price as the first offer.
Offer, yes.
So it is coming from the customer. The first offer is coming from the customer, and customer can ask for first any price as a first offer. Now, why the tag? You can understand because tag is indicative, so the customer would know in what range I should ask. So if the tag price says 99, customer should not ask for 150,000, right? So the customer can maybe ask for 99. Okay, I'll buy it for 99 because it's okay for me. Or ideally, the customer should ask for a lesser price because that is where the customer can benefit from. So, to prevent the customer from asking for 150 is maybe one reason, but other thing is to prevent the customer asking for 20,000. Also, this tag price is useful because the customer will know that this is in 99,000 rupees range. So, what should I offer? What I can offer, right? So to judge that, that can happen. But of course, say if this happens in Peta market or somewhere, sometimes it is even asking for 20,000, maybe still reasonable, right? So it depends on the place that you are asking this price, but say it is an indicative price. So the customer then can offer. Alternatively, say customer can ask the seller also to offer by asking the seller how much that is, even though it clearly says 99,000. Customer can ask the seller how much that is. so that then it can come from the seller's end, explaining, say, or giving the offer of a certain price, right? That is also possible. Then that offer is there, so there's a valid offer. So the seller says it is, assume the seller says it is 99,000. Okay, understanding that, you can accept, okay, I'll buy it, right? So the seller has given the offer, and say offer is combined with the standard agreement, standard conditions, which you may need to verify if necessary. But if you are buying it from from the agent, etc., then those conditions are usually stipulated, which you can adhere to. So if you accept it, then you accept in this 99,000 together with other things, right? Together with the specification of the model, because same model can have few different variations of specification. Same model can have different memory capacities, even different processors, I think, for some phones. So you are agreeing for those together, right? Even though you are talking only about the price, right? Because other standard things are considered to be, say, given or standard. So when you accept that, you are accepting this whole package of offer that includes 99,000 rupees. Okay. Alternatively, instead of accepting it, you can ask for, say, you may ask for, can't I have it for 90,000? I'll buy it for 90,000, right? You can counter offer like that. Okay. Now, when you do that, it is then for the seller to take a decision. Now, seller has already given you 99,000. Now it is for you to, now you have not accepted it, but you have, say, given a counter offer, which is 90,000. So when you say 90,000, then it indicates that you have altered only the price, right? You have altered only the price. Then other things are still the same standard specification, conditions, warranties, all these things are same. Right? Then the seller might say, no, we can't, right? We can't give it for 90,000. Then he might say, talk to the boss and might tell you, we can give it for 98,000. Right? We can give it for 98. That is the best we can give. Right? We can't actually, this is company price, we can reduce it, but say boss has agreed to give you for 98,000. Okay. Now the seller has not accepted, so there is no contract still, and seller has given you a counter offer 98,000 with the balance of the things are same. Okay. You would say, no, it's too much. I can buy it for a lesser price, but I don't want to buy it from somewhere else. I would like to buy it from you. Say they sell it for 92,000, so you also can give me for 92,000. So I offer you to buy it for 92,000. You are saying that, right? You are saying that. So then the seller will say that, yes, we can give, like, because since you mentioned that you can buy it for 90,000 from elsewhere, the seller would also know from where it can buy, where you can buy, right? So the seller would say, yes, we can give it for 92,000, but with only 3 months warranty. not our regular 2 years warranty, because they are also giving it with 3 months warranty. So we also can give you with 3 months warranty, but not with our regular 2-year warranty. Okay. Now the seller has accepted to sell it for 92,000, and you have offered to buy it for 92,000. Seller has accepted to sell it for 92,000 in this scenario. Now tell me, is there a contract? Is there a contract? Is it not clear? Now the regular, now you have come to the agent, so agents has the regular package which has 2 years warranty. Okay, so originally 99,000 was with 2 years warranty, and you asked for 90,000, but they didn't accept, but they reduced it to 98,000 and gave a counter offer 98,000 again with the same package. The balance is same, only the price was reduced. Right. So when you mention 92,000 from other sellers, etc., so you offered it for 92,000, and they also accepted to give you at 92,000, but they say that they can give it or sell it for 92,000, but only with 3 years warranty, not the regular package. In the regular package, there is 2 years, only 3 months warranty, but in the regular package, there is 2 years warranty. So that is the scenario. So my question is, now since they have accepted to sell it for 92,000, is there a contract?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Anybody says no? Simple question. So all of you can answer. You can say, others who cannot speak can post to the chat. Yes or no? Is there a contract or not?
Yes.
So everybody says yes. Anybody says no? Because there can be only 2 answers. Or maybe you can say don't know, but that's not the answer I can accept. Yes or no? Okay. Yes. Everybody says yes. Anybody say no? Huh? Be brave and say no. Says no, but I believe she said no, but we can't hear you. See, the problem is. Yeah. Anybody else says no? I'm looking at the chat also now, so you can post to the chat if you want to. Okay, good. So as per majority's decision, we will say yes. But unfortunately, single-handedly, I have to say no. So that is the problem of democracy, right? We know the problem of democracy already. So, so the majority may not be always correct. Okay, so even in simple, we can reasonably believe that there is a contract. There is an important point that we have to remember. That is, an offer has to be unconditionally accepted, right? So the offer is, that's why I highlighted, the offer actually is not only the price. We usually tend to think of the price as the offer, but it's not only the price. It is the whole package that comes as the offer. That's why I said there's a specification attached to that, right? The same model can have different specifications. So what specification are we talking about? So that specification is attached to that. Then other conditions including warranties and warranty conditions, like whether we can get the warranty from any shop or whether we have to go to a certain specific place, right? So therefore, the offer is actually a full description. even though we may not talk about each and every item because those are standard and we have understood, right? That we have understood. So offer is therefore along with those things, not only the price. So the 99 was attached to those. So in the next count offer which came with 98, I mentioned the other things did not change. So the offer package includes all these same things, right? However, you did not accept it, right? You did not accept it, and you asked for 92,000, and you only changed 92. That is 98 to 92. Still, the other things are same because you did not change anything. Then, even though other party accepted it, they accepted it conditionally. That is, they accepted 92, of course, because that is what you asked for. But what they did was they added another condition, a change to the original offer. That is, they changed the warranty from 2 years to 3 months. Other things they did not change, but warranty they changed from 2 years to 3 months. Which means it is not an unconditional acceptance. Okay, so when it is not an unconditional acceptance, there is no contract. There is no contract. There is no even partial contract or something like that cannot be there, because in contracts there is this principle called consensus ad idem. That is, say, so both parties should agree for the same thing. Now, when you offer 92,000, you did not offer that with a 3 months warranty. You offered that again with normal 2 years warranty, but 92,000. That was not accepted. What was given back, even though it sounds like an acceptance, it was not an acceptance. It was a count offer. Right? Now it is for you to accept it. So if you accept it, then there is a contract. But until you accept it, there is no contract. Until or unless you accept it, there is no contract. So if you accept it, so the seller has given the offer 92,000 with 3 years warranty, but 3 months warranty, but other specs are same, right? Then say if you accepted that, then there is a contract, but until that there is no contract. Okay, right. You don't want to get it for with three months warranty. You need it to with 2 years warranty to be comfortable, and you understood that what you tried was not going to work, right? So then you give that up, and now you say that okay, no, I don't want it with 3 months warranty. I'll accept your 98,000 offer. I'll accept your 98,000 offer. Okay, so 98,000 offer had the same spec, same say company warranty for 2 years, etc. Okay, so now we accept it because you did not accept the next count offer, which was 92,000 with three months warranty. Right. Now you say that okay, no, I don't want it with 3 months warranty. Let's forget about it. 92,000. I'll accept even 98,000 offer. Now is there a contract? Is there a contract? Don't worry to talk about it. We are generating some understanding. Sorry, I did not hear you. Sorry. Is there a contract? Yes, Jayant, I did not hear you.
Yes.
Yes, okay, because
Yes.
that was accepted. How about others? How about others? Everybody says yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Since there's a full package.
And that is accepted. Okay. Yeah. So from that point of view, of course, it is understood that is unconditionally accepted. But unfortunately, still there is no contract. You understand why? Now, so at a given time, there can be only sort of for a certain negotiation, there's only one offer that is sort of active. When a counter offer is given, any other offers, any other previous offers will become inactive, right? This is sometimes explained into a context that a counter offer kills the original offer. I have seen people say it like that, right? Counter offer kills the original offer because when a counter offer is given, the original offer is no more, right? It is no more there. So when the 98,000 offer came, since you did not accept and you gave a 92,000 offer, it becomes a counter offer. And because of that counter offer, that 98,000 offer or counter offer given by the seller is killed and it is no more there, right? When it is no more there, you can't really accept it. You can't really accept it. It is not there, right? However, if you present it as an acceptance mode kind of a thing, say that I will take the same thing, I will accept the same thing, it can be considered as a new count offer. It can be considered as a new count offer. So you are now count offering to buy with the same package, that is same specification, same warranty package with 98,000 price. You are now count offering to buy it because sellers, that offer is no more valid. Clear? Sellers, that offer is no more valid because we have already given a count offer. So now this one is considered a new count offer. Because it is a new count offer, now it is for the seller. It is for the seller to either accept or reject or count offer. Right? Now the seller can say no. Because that is your offer. Seller can say simply no. And there is no contract. Okay. So you can't establish a contract to buy it at 98,000. You lose the chance of buying it at 98,000. Seller can simply say no. Because we annoyed the seller. Because he gave a special discount after talking to the boss. Right? And it is not necessary to give you the discount like that. Assuming that you are a good customer, but so you in a way annoyed them, then say seller doesn't want to give that. So seller can simply say no because there is no contract yet. So seller can deny to sell it for 98,000. Okay, and seller can counter offer. Not even 99,000. Seller can say for you we are offering it for 110,000. Even that is possible, even though it sounds unethical and harsh for a not good image for a seller. That is possible. Or seller can say no, we are not selling you. Even that is possible. Okay, so the important point to understand here is that when we are talking about the price, we are actually going through a process of agreeing for a price. And in this process, we need to understand various things, and they are coming from a law of contract. So that is why law of contract is important. And there, so very important point that I want to highlight is the counter offering. So for example, assume you call for tenders, right? 10 bidders have bid for the project, and the lowest bidder is, say, assume 5% lower than the second lowest. Lowest bidder is 5% lesser than the second lowest. Okay. Then say, however, you prefer the second lowest because second lowest is a quite reputed builder, right? Quite reputed builder, and the lowest is, say, known to have sort of problems in the past, like they were say they were sort of often delay in the works, and say quality issues were there. So you can get the work done, but with a lot of trouble, right? So so you have this knowledge or awareness about the lowest. So you prefer the second lowest, but second lowest price is higher, right? The second lowest price is higher. Now, since the second lowest price is higher, you are on concern. So what some clients do, actually, I have seen clients doing this, right? So the client will know that, okay, the lowest price is given, so that is the price you want to do. So since that person says that they can do it at that price, so even the second lowest should be able to do that, right? So that is what a client might think. And accordingly, since the second lowest is, say, 5% higher than the lowest, right? The client sends a letter to the second lowest. This cannot be done probably in public sector, other than special say, scenarios. So in the private sector client, so the client select the second lowest and sends a letter of, now they have all given their offers. So all these bids are their offers, right? So the client sends the second lowest a letter saying that we are happy to accept your offer with the 5% discount to the price you have given. Is there a contract? Is there a contract?
No,
Why not?
it has condition to reduce 5%.
Yes, there is a condition, right? Even the letter says letter of acceptance as heading, and even the wording says we accept your offer. Still, it is not a proper acceptance. It is not an unconditional acceptance. It is a conditional acceptance. There is a condition. So therefore it is a counter offer, right? So therefore it is a counter offer, right? So for the counter offer, now that bidder might already realize that, okay, I am the second lowest. Of course, there is a lowest who is lower than me, who is really being careless. But me also, I have done some mistakes. That's why I'm quite low like this, actually. Even if I got this project, say this is hard to do at this price, right? I have done an error in my pricing, my cost calculations, right? So the second lowest may also have realized, and given another 5% discount is really challenging. So the second lowest may not like it. If the second lowest actually can do it at 5% discount, then the second lowest can accept it. So when the second lowest accepts that next round only, that is after receiving the letter saying 5%. So if the second lowest bidder accepts that, right, by communication or by action, that is also possible, right? So instead of say sending a letter saying that, okay, we are happy to do that, the bidder mobilized to the site to start working. So that is acceptance by action. That kind of things are also there, right? However, these are still to be say considered and judged by competent authorities. But that kind of acceptance can also occur. Just wanted to highlight. So if bidder accepts that only, then there is a contract. Otherwise, by simply client accepting like that, there is no contract because it's not a real acceptance. It is a conditional acceptance, which is actually counter offer, right? However, this can have benefit if the bidder accepts. However, if bidder does not like that, the bidder can simply say no, we can't do it as 5% discount, right? So just because bidder says no with 5% discount, the client can't do anything because that is a counter. Now, after that, the client sends a letter saying that, okay, that's fine. We still like to get you to do the work. So therefore, we would like to accept your original offer because it is still within the bid validity periods, right? So we are happy to accept that without any condition. Okay. Now, is there a contract? Is there a contract? Now, from the thing that we understood earlier, there is no, because the moment the client sends a letter saying that we are asking for 5% discount, right? The original offer is killed. Now it is no more valid. So when the acceptance letter is sent, it is again a counter offer, logically. Okay. Then it is for the bidder to accept or not again. Now the bidder can simply reject it because bidder might know that it is still a lower price by mistake by himself. Bidder can reject it. Of course, client can't do anything because the original offer is no more valid. Right? Other than if you have made any special arrangement, I don't know whether it is possible legally, whether it is allowed that even with the counter offer, the original offer remains valid. I don't know whether such things are there. If you are aware, just let us know. But what I wanted to highlight is sometimes we do things without properly understanding the consequences. Right. So the moment that you give a counter offer, you kill the original offer. Remember that, right? So that has important aspect. So that is how actually the price negotiation works. Otherwise, it is very confusing. So as I said, offers are really complete package, even though we may only talk about or negotiate about few items in that, right? Okay, so that is price. Now, what do you understand by the idea of value of something? Price of something, now we can understand, right? It is the price we may pay when we are getting it, or it may be the price that we intend to pay or intend to get paid when we are transacting. So that is the price. So that is the figure that we are talking about. This figure can change during our negotiations. So that is the price that we are talking about. Okay. Now, in terms of value of something, now value of the mobile phone, the price of the mobile phone, assume that is say the market price of the mobile phone was 99, and maybe assume just you bought it from somewhere else, because that shop you did not buy because say that the circumstance was not good, so you just left there and bought it from another shop, again from an agent, for 99,000 rupees. So that was the price that you paid for the phone. What is the value of the phone?
Worth of a product or service?
Worth of the product. So how do you understand that? Or how do you relate that value to the price?
By comparing the market.
By comparing it to the market. Okay, that is a good way, comparing it to the market, right? What other ways? Now, mobile phone, of course, you can compare because there are many mobile phones transacted in the market, so we know the market price. So if we can buy it lesser than the market price, we assume that it is worthy and we see the value. But other ways are there for somebody.
Benefit and features.
Benefits and features. Say, for example, when I say I sell my mobile phone for 30,000 rupees, what do you know about the value of it for me? Right. So it is related to how much I am ready to say to give away the value, so the utility, the usefulness, happiness of having this phone, right? So how much of price, I'm ready to accept to give away that satisfaction, happiness of having this mobile phone with me, right? So as you said, it is something say related to the person. Is so that it's quite subjective. So usually it is related to what we call the satisfaction, or in economics terms we talk about utility. Right? So utility of something is related to value. So however, for a person, for a mobile phone, or even for certain things like for flowers, etc., it is not just the utility, but certain emotional value is there. Certain emotional value is there for various things. Because say if you get a flower, you might not be able to use it for something, right? But you might buy a certain, say, you might buy roses or certain other bouquet of flowers for a purpose, which just to have it in your hand. You are not going to having it in your hand is also is a trouble than not having it, because it is heavy. You have to keep it. You can't do other things with your hand and all these things. But just to hold it in your hand, you have it, paying a reasonably large sum of money. And I'm not sure whether you can have a real usefulness of that as a utility. But it has a sentimental value, so that satisfaction of having it with you is transferred into that value, and you see paying that price of is all right to get that value, that satisfaction, right? So you would pay a price up to the value that you can have from it, and you are unlikely to pay a price beyond that value, because it is not rational. So for a rational situation, right, one would pay a price up to the value only. Beyond the value, one should not be ready to pay the price, right? So if you buy a mobile phone for 99,000 rupees, that indicates the value of that phone for you is at least 99,000, or it can be more. It cannot be less. Okay, it cannot be less, right? So similarly, when a client is agreeing for a project to have a contract price of say 20 million, right? A contract price of 20 billion, then it indicates the client has at least a value of that. Okay, so how client finds the value can vary. Clients are unlikely to find the value based on cost plus profit basis, because that is how the bidder finds the value. Estimated cost plus expected profit. Because the bidder is a business, so bidder expects to find or get a profit, right? So the value for bidder is there in the profit. So bidder values it based on the profit the bidder can make. So that's why the cost is estimated and a profit is attached to that. Then the price is given. However, if the bidder can give a higher price, the bidder can say can get a higher profit. Okay, but the bidder will not give a higher price, because by giving a higher price, bidder loses the chances of getting the project, because somebody else can give a lower price and get the project. So bidder tries to keep the price low, but at the same time, bidder will keep that price within the value. So in that case, now this is a contract to sell, not to buy. So it's not a client scenario. See here, right? The bidder would give the price which at the say at the most level. So it is the other way. So when bidder gives the price, what you know is that the bidder's value for this project is at least that much or less. We can say at most that much or less, right? At most that much or less. So usually a bidder who is eager to win will give the price at the value of it, right? At the value of it. However, when they are given that, they consider the risk factor and include that also as a cost. So as a addition to the profit margin. So they do. So the pricing mechanism is something complex actually within the bidders also. But the idea is that the bidder will value it from the cost plus profit basis. So bidder will find the value of a project from the cost plus profit basis. But the client, it is not possible. How would the client find the value? Can you imagine? How would the client can find the value of the building? Client usually in a commercial situation, client usually finds the value from the utility point of view, right? The benefit point of view. So the client will find the value of the building, say if it is an investment, using certain investment appraisal techniques, right? That is, as an investment, how much I can invest in this project based on the future returns, future income. So there are investment appraisal techniques. So the client can identify a certain type of project and identify the series of future income, and balancing this series of future income. Those are future incomes, right? So the future incomes may have less value. Say 1 million after 10 years of time is quite low in value today. So by say converting that, we say discounting that to a present price, right? So the client can compare a series of future income, and to make a reasonable profit out of that future incomes, how much the client can spend on this project. So based on that, we call the residual value. That is, there is a future income, there is expected profit, right? So from the future income, which is converted to the present day value, you deduct the expected profit. So the balance is available for the project, but it is not only for the construction contract, but it is also for the any taxes, any legal fees, any other registrations, all these things, consultancies. If there is no plot of land, getting the plot of land, for everything, the balance is there. So based on identifying those other costs, the client can identify how much the client can spend for the construction project, construction part of it. So that is how the client finds the value. So client knows that if I can get my project done at most at this price, it can be profitable for me. Right? If the price is higher than that, I can't. So the client will have that value, but you can't observe that. Same way, you can't observe the contractor's value. You can only see the price that they offer, right? So client will have this in mind. And maybe the client would share it with the design team, but maybe not, right? Client would have this value set from the investment appraisal, and client might give or instruct the design team to design a building maybe for a lower price than that value. Right, that is also possible. Or sometimes client might say, okay, this is my value. You have to do it at that time, but you have to make sure that is the maximum I finally pay. But sometimes client might give a low budget, expecting to have a certain contingency to increase the price at a later stage. So either way it can happen, but how client finds the value is not from cost plus profit point of view. Okay. So from the utility. So for another client who is now who is building a building for their office, right? Would consider it in a different way, again from the investment point of view, but in a different way, not from the profit point of view, but they will consider the series of future renters they would have to pay for another building if they did not have this building, right? Then based on that, they will estimate how much value they can have. So therefore the client's value is coming from something else. So what you can only know is client's value is at least the price the client agrees at the end, but it can be more than that. But we don't know how much. Nobody can know easily how much, except if the client reveals that, right? So what you know is that it is at least that much or can be higher. That so when there is a contract agreement is made, what you know is for contractor it is at the time of valuing it is at most that much, but his value may be less than that. For the client it is at least that much, or the value can be more than that. Okay, so that is the relationship between the price and the value. So the value can be explained in various different ways, right? So value in use is usually the commercial way of looking at it. So that is the benefits provided by the thing that you purchase to the buyer, right? And say it can also be understood as the exchange value, as for my mobile phone case, right? How much of say amount I'm ready to give up, or how much of say, since I'm selling it, so how much of money I'm ready to accept to give up my mobile phone. So that is how you can understand the value. right? And in the general market mechanism, we can see some equation of value to the price. That is the generalizable value. Individual's value can be higher and lower, but the generalizable value is set as the market price because people are ready to buy at that price. Okay, so it is a balance of value between buyers and sellers that you can figure out in the market pricing mechanism, where a lot of goods of the same types are sort of transacted. But for building projects, you can understand there is a challenge. It is not comparable always, right? Because each project is different from another. However, say in terms of works inside the building, of course, those are common. And we usually look at the pricing or prices from this individual works point of view. So therefore, say we have a certain level of understanding about the value, general value. Individuals, of course, they will have different values. Say, for example, a certain client would have a higher value for maybe say granite finish than that of the market value. That is possible. That is very possible, right? So now this value equals price idea, actually you can link from the one side, that is say the seller's point of view or the contractor's point of view, cost plus profit. So they usually price at their value level, right? They usually price at their value level. So client would agree for that usually when the value in use is there. Otherwise, the client would say, no, I don't want it because I don't find that much of value. However, as you can see, client in a situation when client agrees, client may have a higher value. That is possible. As a buyer, they can have a surplus value in there, right? So that is always possible. So yeah.
So I have a doubt in the price area.
Okay.
So I'm going to purchase a product from a seller.
Okay.
He's that first of all is 98,000.
Okay.
And I'm giving the counter offer 92,000.
Okay.
Now he is telling then okay, we can sell you for 92,000, but the warranty will be reduced.
Yes.
So I accept it. Now there is a contract, right?
Yes, of course. If you accept it, there is a contract, because that counter offer which seller gave, you accepted unconditionally. Then there is a contract, and there is the contract price is 92,000. But of course, it is not just the price we are agreeing to, right? And you are agreeing with other specification with three months warranty. However, the contract price there is 92,000, and that is exactly how much you will be paying. So the transaction price is also 92,000, right? However, you might say that I need a tempered glass for that. Then again, that become a count offer, right? So if you say 92, accept with saying that I need a tempered glass, it's a count offer. But of course, tempered glass can be considered as a separate offer also, so that without the tempered glass, we are having the contract for 92,000, right? So you can have few different contracts with the same part. That is possible. So you originally agreed for 92,000, you accepted 92,000 with 3 months warranty. Then when you're buying it, you say that, okay, to that, please add the tempered glass. So they will say tempered glass is 1,000 rupees. You might negotiate, or you might say, okay, include. Then you will be paying 93,000. Actually, what you are paying is 92,000 price for that contract for the phone, 1,000 price for the tempered glass separately, 2 separate contracts, even though you pay together.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay. All right. So anyway, so you should be able to see this, right? Now I discuss various things. So one thing is about agreeing for a price and contract situations, etc. Something that you have to be familiar with. In addition to that, you also have to have some idea the relationship between value and the price, right? Because somebody would agree for a price within the value range. So some for a buyer, the price has to be less than the value, right? Because that is the seller is paying to get that value. Buyer is paying to get that value. The client is paying to get that value. So client is ready to pay up to the value, but not more than that. So any price below the value, client is ready to pay. Right? For the seller has to give it up, right? So how much seller is ready to accept to give that thing to the client, right? So the client will be paying, but the seller will accept to sell the goods to the client, right, for a price which is higher than the value, because the seller will want at least the price equal to the value, at least price equal to the value, right? So if seller is getting a higher price, of course seller will be happy, but at least the price should be equal to the value, because to give that up, right? So we say so we can think it from the exchange value, right? The seller would consider the acceptance of the price. So if it is especially for a negotiation, right, we can see this clearly. In a normal tender, of course, sellers will offer their prices, of course, still considering their value. So their offers will be at, say, not less than their value. It will be at their value or higher than their value. Because if they place a higher price as an offer price, and if they get the profit, if they get the project, they will have a better profit, right? So in contracts, you should be able to see the link between the value and the price. That is very important, right? So that is an area that we are going into when we are talking about contracts. So you have to have, say, especially when we are talking about procurement, to face the issues, challenges in procurement. So this is an important area you should attend to, right? You should understand actually the link between value and the price. So of course, you have to understand at the time of contract agreement, this value is also dependent on a certain estimate, and that estimate can be wrong. That estimate can be wrong. So the contractor's value at the time of tendering is based on that estimate. And when the contractor later finds certain errors in the contractor's estimate at the time of bidding, right? So the contractor mentally adjusts it, right? Now the contractor's value is different from the time of tendering, but the price remains the same. The value is different. So now, say at the time of tendering, maybe the price is higher than the value, so the contractor is happy at the time of tendering. But the contractor later finds he had done some mistakes in pricing and the estimate had been wrong and had been an underestimate. So with that correction, the value is now higher than the price. So the contractor will be unhappy because he is getting paid a price less than the value, and those can lead to problems. As project managers, you should understand this and see how you can tackle those. Okay, the same can happen to the client's end. In the investment appraisal, client had made certain assumptions, but due to economic situation or some other things that happen, all things got changed. Right? Now what? You have to understand and see how you can address this. Okay, necessary adjustment. So, and when you are planning your procurement also, you have to understand these things can happen. And you can build in certain mechanisms to say allocate for that. Of course, we have variation process, etc., included into our agreements because they can help us addressing these challenges. Okay, so we include these in our contracts because with experience, the professionals have come to understand various challenges and how to address those. So they may have not thought of from the same point of view, but of course, some, not everybody might have, but at least some has thought of and considered those and incorporated various mechanisms to our procurement, especially to our contracts, to address this. Right? So various things that are there now you should be able to understand from value and price point of view also, because we are usually when I talk to many, I see that they usually talk about these conditions or arrangements that we include into this from highly contractual point of view. They have accepted, they have agreed, this condition is there, right? Of course, that is the way of a lawyer might consider, but there should be other people who are looking at it from other points of view. Especially project managers should be looking at it from project implementation point of view, fairness point of view, project success point of view, right? Contractually, legally, there can be something, right? But if you understand, of course, in a special circumstances, relying on the legal interpretation alone is going to be troublesome, and it is not going to benefit either the client or the contractor. It is for you to pick that, right? You should not be going behind the same way of looking at it from the lawyer's point of view. Because always remember, the parties have the liberty to amend the agreement. Parties have the liberty to amend the agreement, right? So even though you have agreed to certain conditions, if following the conditions to the rule is not going to benefit both parties, then what's the use of it? Right? So figuring out a proper solution, if you can link the idea of value and price to the context and understand it from that point of view, then you might come up with a better solution. Right? Therefore, it is very important you understand the value and the price and the relationship between these two things, and of course develop a good understanding how different parties in a project recognize, find their value. That is very important. When you understand that, then you can directly address that. Say, for example, if you know that the client has found the value using an investment appraiser, if you figure that out, right, then you can say if something goes wrong, if something has affected, then you can look at the investment appraisal and see from where you can address it, because you know how the client understands the value. So maybe you can say change the series of future income by doing a slight change to the project. Cost wise it may not be significant, but return wise it may be significant, making the project for the client is again profitable. So therefore it is important you understand these areas as project managers. Okay, hope you got those ideas which I shared with you, right? So we have reached the time that we have to finish. So the next week, as you said, I will take the lecture at 1:30. Then you confirm me for the following week. Right, so let's conclude. If you have any last comments, questions, yes, you can ask. Okay, so silence means there's nothing. Right, then let's end this, right? So we'll meet you, I'll meet you next week at 1:30.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So there's a quiz already, so please do that, remember. And don't start the quiz if you can't finish. So better to start the quiz in a mobile phone if there's a risk of losing power supply or something, because you can complete it, because when you start it, it will be counted as an attempt. So even though you don't finish it. Right. Okay then. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.